Elementary calculations for energy consumption. So this we are having 4 to 5 steps. So one by one we have to discuss. Okay. First, calculate watts per day. Okay. In this step, simply multiply your device's wattage by the number of hours. Okay. Use it in a day. Simply multiply the number of hours into the watts. Device wattage. Okay. Device is having some rating. Okay. So 125 or 150. Okay. Or 150 like that. So device is having some rating. So in the range in the form of watts. Okay. So multiply hours, first step. Okay. In the steps, simply multiply your device wattage by the number of hours. Okay. You use it in a day. For example, iron box. So iron box generally, so 150 to 200 watts range. Okay. So how many hours are used using iron box? Just 1 to 2 hours. So multiply 1 to 2 hours first step. Okay. The number of hours you use in it in a day. Okay. This will give the number of watt hours consumed in each day. Okay, like that. In the first step, so you have to multiply this device wattage into time, then you will get watt hour. Okay, that means energy consumed by the device. Watt hour is nothing but energy. Energy is equal to power into time. So watts into time is called energy. So that is means so we are finding how much of energy consumed in a per day. Okay. For example, 125 watts television for 3 hours per day. 125 watt television for 3 hours per day. By multiplying the watts 125 by the hours used 3. So we find the television consuming 370 watt hours per day. Okay. So that is called energy consumed by the television in one day. So 375 watt hours. Watt hour. Okay. So like this 125 into 3. So that is called 375 watts hour per day. So this is the first step. After that, convert watt hours into the kilowatts. Okay. Because of energy in the form of kilowatt hour. That's why this watt hour is converted into kilowatts. So electricity is measured in kilowatt hours on your bill. Okay. Your electricity bill is in the form of kilowatt hour. That's why convert this electricity that is called energy into kilowatts. Kilowatt hour. Watt hour is converted into kilowatt. Okay. Not watt hours. Okay, 1 kilowatt hour is equal to the 1000 watts. You know, well. So to calculate how many kilowatt hour in a device uses, divide the watt hour from the previous step by 1000. Then you will get a kilowatt hour. Simply by dividing the 1000, you will get a kilowatt hour. Using hours per the previous example, this means you would divide the 375 watt hour by 1000 like this. Divide this watt hour by 1000, you will get kilowatts. Okay. So like this 375 watt hours per day is nothing but 375 divided by 1000, that is equal to 0.375 kilowatt hour per day. Okay. So because of electricity bill is calculated in the form of kilowatt hour, that's why it is converted into kilowatts. Okay. First multiply days and then you will get how many days, how many hours are used. Okay. And then we will get a watt hour and divide 1000, that is converted into the kilowatt hours. 375 divided by 1000 is nothing but 0.37 kilowatt hour. And then find your usage over a month. That means multiply this month. That is nothing but 30 days. Now that you know that kilowatt hour is used per day, multiply that by 30 to find your approximate users for the month. Your electricity bill for getting for 1 month. No? Every 1 month you are getting electricity bills. Am I right? So that's why they multiply that's 30. So if you daily this is 0.375 kilowatt hour, the multiply and day and 30 days you will get okay monthly uses. Your monthly uses would be 11.25 kilowatt hours by multiplying 30. 375 So watt hour per day, that is equal to 30 days. That into 30 days is equal to 11.25 kilowatt hour per month. Okay, so like this, this is converted into the 11.25 kilowatt hour per month, and then this is converted into the cost. So in step 4, figure out the cost. So for the final step, refer to the last electric bill to see how much you pay per kilowatt hour. That is tariff. Generally, it is called as a tariff. Let's say according to your bill, your electricity rate is 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. Okay, 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. So let us assume your electricity bill is 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. So in that case, so what you have to multiply? So this previous 11.25 kilowatt hour month into, so electricity per kilowatt hour. So 3. So we'll get to multiply your electricity rate 3 by your monthly uses 33.75 to find out how much of your TV cost is costing in a month. Okay, how much of energy calculated first, and then multiplying days and dividing 1000. So like that, we'll get in a kilowatt hour and then converted into the cost. Okay, in a month. So by multiplying the, so tariff, that is called electricity rate, is rupees per kilowatt hour. No? So by multiplying 3, so we'll get, so it's not fixed. Okay, it's changing according to our consumer. Okay, for 3 rupees per domestical and some other 7 rupees for industrial. So depending on the usage of this, the rupees per kilowatt hour is changing. Okay, it's not fixed. So like this, we will get the total cost monthly uses of television. Okay, by the month, 33.7 per 5 rupees per month. Only one television cost. Okay, so in this way we have to calculate. So how the electricity, how the our television is consuming the energy, and how much are paying. Okay, so first what you have to calculate watts per day. Okay, so by multiplying how much of hours used in a day, how many hours is using in a day. So that is 3 hours. No? So that's why just by multiplying what is of device is called 125 hours. By multiplying 125 into 3, so we'll get like this watts hour per day. And then by 1000, it will convert it into kilowatt hour, 0.37 per day. And then, so for month, so multiply 30. So we'll get in the form of monthly 11.25. So by multiplying 30 days, so we'll get monthly uses 11.25 kilowatt per month. After that, multiply cost electricity rate. Okay, that's called tariff. Multiply tariff rupees per kilowatt hour. How many rupees per kilowatt hour? So multiply that, you will get total monthly bill of your television. Okay, in this way you have to calculate electricity. Okay, so this is elementary calculation for energy consumption. Okay, and elementary calculations for energy consumption. This is the topic. So then next topic. So what about devices that use more electricity? Okay, so for refrigerator, in instant runs 24 hours a day. Am I right? Refrigerator is working 24 hours in a day. So it's switched on throughout the day. Okay, so most of refrigerator consume anywhere in between 300 to 780 watts. So the rating of these refrigerator is in the range of 300 to 780 watts maximum rating. Okay, of electricity. Let's say you model, for example, 300 watts. Okay, refrigerator is wattage is for example 300 watts. 300 into 24. So we will get 7,200 watts hours per day. After that, converted into kilowatts, na 7,200 watts per day by 1,000. First multiplying hours, you will get watt hours per day. After that, by dividing 1,000, you will get kilowatt hours per day. 7,200 watt hours per day by 1,000, you will get 7.2 kilowatt hours per day. First watt hours per day converting into kilowatt hours per day, per day. So why? Because our electricity bill calculated in the form of kilowatt hour. So that's why dividing 1000 we'll get like this. After that multiply 30 days, so we'll get monthly per month. Okay, by multiplying 30 days, so we will get per month energy consumption 260 kilowatt hour per month. So okay, multiplying 7.2 into 260, 30 days. So we'll get 216 kilowatt hour per month. And then after that, rupees per kilowatt hour. Okay, 3 rupees per kilowatt hour generally. So 216 kilowatt hour per month into 3. So we'll get 65, 648 per month. So we have to pay rupees 648 for refrigerator. Okay. According to the device, this energy consumption is different, and also we are paying the bill is also different. This is for refrigerator. For TV, for example, if TV is operating 7 to 8 hours in a day, so based on that operating the device, so this we are paying the bill is different. Okay, for television, 33.75 per month. It is it's working only 3 hours per day now, so that's why this much have been on. But here refrigerator is operating throughout the day. That's why energy consumption is more. That's why we are paying the bill for refrigerator also more, 648. Okay, like that this changes. Okay, so next cells and batteries. Next concept is cells and batteries. So first, what is meant by cell and what is meant by battery? So we have to, okay, first what is meant by cell? A device which is used as a source of EMF and which works on the principle of conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy is called cell. Understood? Chemical energy into electrical energy. This is one of the important concept. That is called cell. Chemical energy into electrical energy. Energy conversion. Energy conversion is called cell. Understood? So this is called cell. And then, but practically the voltage of a single cell is not sufficient to use any practical applications, because of single cell is not sufficient to meet the load. By using single cell, it is very difficult to operate the device. Okay, but because of the rating of the cell is very less. Okay, for example, in mobile, okay, by using single small cell to operate your mobile is very difficult, because of the rating of the capacity of the cell is very less. So that's why if you want to increase the capacity of the uh, cell, capacity of the battery, so what you have to do, you have to connect the number of cells are in series and parallel, then run the rating of the battery is increasing, and that is called general disconnect battery. And so various cells are connected in series or parallel to obtain a required voltage level. Okay, one single cell is not sufficient to meet the load. Single cell is not sufficient to meet the uh, any practical applications, not sufficient to use any practical applications, because of the operating range of the cell is very, very less. Okay, that's why to meet that operating range, so these cells are connected in a series and parallel. By connecting cells in series and parallel, so we will meet the load. For example, so your mobile, the voltage is 7 volts, maybe 4.5 to 7 volts. So how to get that much of voltage? By connecting the number of cells are in a series and parallel. Okay, so we'll get the voltage levels, that much voltage. For example, car battery is 12 volts. So to increase the 12 volts range, okay, so by connecting the number of cells in parallel inside of that, okay, then only it is possible to increase the battery capacity. Okay, the combination of various cells is to obtain the desired voltage level is called battery. Understood? So what is my cell and what is my battery? So cell is nothing but a device which is used as a source of EMF and is which work on the principle of conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy is called a cell. Okay, and by using single cell, it is very difficult to to operate the device. That's why the number of cells are connected in series and parallel, so we will get the required voltage level, and the combination of voltage various cells to obtain the desired voltage level is called battery. Understood? So this is about cells and battery, and different type of cells are there: the primary cells and secondary cells. The cells are classified into primary cells and secondary cells. The primary cells is nothing but once it is used, okay, once it is completely discharged, and again a reuse of this cell is not possible. Okay, so charging of this cell is not possible. That is called primary cell. The chemical action in these cells is not reversible. That means again recharging is not possible. That type of cells are called primary cells. But secondary cells, it's possible to recharge again, charge again. Okay, so just like our mobiles are lithium-ion batteries are generally used in lithium-ion batteries are used in mobile. That is called secondary cell. Okay, primary cell is only one-time applications, but the secondary cell, so by charging again, it is possible to reuse again. But in primary cell is not possible. The chemical action in the cells is not reversible. Okay, chemical actions is not reversible means once it is charging, and charging is not possible. Okay, and hence the entire cell is required to be replaced by a new one if the cell is down. That is called primary cell. It's clear, understood? Nothing is the primary cell. If the discharging is completed, charging is completed zero, or that case it is again recharging of the cell is not possible. That type of cells are called primary cells. Okay, the primary cells can produce only limited amount of energy. Primary cells can produce only limited amount of energy. Mostly the non-electrolytes are used in the primary cells. Non-electrolytes are used in primary cells. The various examples of primary cells are, these are the different type of examples of primary cells. A dry cell, that is called zinc carbon, and the second one mercury cell, third zinc chloride cell, lithium cell, alkaline cell. These are the different type of cells are primary cell. Okay, so dry cell, so this is the dry cell, so circuit diagram, and what are the different types of electrodes used in dry cell. This is the most common type of dry cell. In this type of Leclanche cell, okay, it is the type of Leclanche cell. So in this negative electrode is called zinc cup lined with paper. Okay, this is called negative electrode, and positive electrode centrally located carbon rod. Okay, centrally located carbon rod. So this is called positive electrode. Two types of electrodes are used in the dry cell. So these are negative electrode is called zinc cup lined with paper, and positive electrode is called centrally located carbon rod. So this is called positive electrode. Okay, so carbon rod, no? Carbon rod, positive terminal. This is called positive terminal. Understood? So this is the diagram of this zinc carbon dry cell. Okay, uh, zinc carbon dry cell. So the space between the paper and carbon rod is filled with a paste of ammonic zinc chloride, manganese dioxide, and carbon dust. So like this. Okay. So this is a dry cell. Next, mercury cell. So only is so electrolytes are different and electrodes are changing. Okay, electrodes are changing and electrolytes are changing. So electrolytes are here different. Electrodes are different here. Zinc cup lined with paper. Na? So this is called negative electrode. Is here negative electrode is called zinc cylinder. Here zinc cylinder is acting as a negative electrode. And positive electrode is called mercury compound in contact with the nickel plated steel or stainless steel. These are the different types of electrodes and used in mercury cell, and is having different type of applications. Okay, so this dry cell applications are torchlights. Dry cells are used in torchlights and electronic operators and toys and wall clocks, etc. These dry cells are used in okay, wall clocks. So I think you know in wall clocks what type of batteries are using, what type of cells are using. Okay, applications used in torchlights electronic operators and toys, wall clocks. Okay, and mercury cells is also application. These cells are preferred for providing power to small devices like electronic calculators. So you are having one calculator, scientific calculator. On that scientific calculator, this type of mercury cells are using. Okay, electronic calculators, audio devices, cameras, etc. These are the applications of mercury cell. Okay, so this is the circuit diagram, and then type of cells and secondary cells, and then secondary cells. Secondary cell, so this called reactions are reversible. That means by charging again, it is reuse possible. Okay, by charging again the cell, and it is used to again it's possible. But in primary cells is not possible once it is charging is completed. Okay, charge is completed in primary cell, it is not possible to reuse. But in the secondary cell, it is possible to reuse again. Okay, the chemical action is in the cells are reversible. Cells is reversible. Okay, the chemical actions are reversible. Thus, if the cell is down, it can be charged to regain its original state by using one of the charging methods. Okay, so secondary cells are nothing but charging batteries. Okay, reuse is possible once it is discharging is completed, and charging again by using charging. Okay, and it is possible to recharge. If cell is down, it can be charged to regain its original state by using one of the charging methods. Here, different about charging methods are there. The electricity is energy stored in this form of chemical energy. Energy stored is here nothing but chemical energy. Energy stored is in the form of chemical energy, and the secondary cells are also called as storage cells, or accumulators, or rechargeable cells. Secondary cells are called storage cells, accumulators, or rechargeable cells. So various types of secondary cells are lead acid cell, alkaline cell, nickel cadmium cells. So these are the generally examples of lead acid cell. Okay, secondary cell lithium ion cells also, lithium ion batteries are so called secondary cells, lead acid cell and alkaline cells. So this called lead acid cell. In this lead acid cell, positive plates are anode is nothing but it is lead peroxide, PbO2. Lead peroxide is nothing but positive plate. Okay, so it is a lead peroxide plate of chocolate, dark brown color. Okay, positive plate. This is called anode, PbO2, lead peroxide. This is called cathode, that is called pure lead. Negative plate is called cathode. Okay, is called pure lead, Pb. So it is made up of pure lead, Pb, so which is gray in color. So that is called cathode. It's called anode, and this is called cathode. H2SO4, sir, it's called electrolyte. Okay, electrolyte is called H2SO4, and this is called cathode. Applications of this battery is called in emergency lighting systems. Okay, in automobiles for starting, uninterrupted power supply systems, and railway signaling, electrical substations, and power stations. These are the different above applications of lead acid cell. Okay, and then next characteristics of lead acid cell are like this. During charging of these lead acid cell, the voltage increases from 1.8 to 2.7 or 2.7. So this is called charging characteristics. Okay, charge curve. This is called charge curve. It increases. Voltage levels increases in a battery. Voltage cell. Okay, charging or discharging. And this is called discharge curve. If the discharging rate is high, the curve is more dropping as voltage decreases faster. Okay, discharging rate is high, the voltage drops very fast. Discharge curve. This is called discharge curve. This is called charging curve. Okay. So you are observing that at the time of starting, your battery is charging very fast. After certain time, it's taking more time, and finally it will be reaches to steady state. Am I right or not? You are observing that your mobiles, okay, completely discharging. So first starting charging will get to 20 to 30%. charging is full. To get charging 20 to 30% is very less time. After that, it's taking more time, and then after a certain time, it's completely charging 100%. So like this. So discharge, so takes according to our uses, the discharge curve will be changing. Okay. And then alkaline cell. The secondary cell can be alkaline cell. There are two types. So okay. Nickel iron cell or Edison cell. Second one, nickel cadmium or knife cell or Chenger cell. Okay. So this is called alkaline cells. These are the two different types of cells. Nickel iron cell or nickel cadmium cell. Okay, these are the two types of cells. These are called secondary cells. Their reactions are reversible. Okay, charging to discharging and discharge to again charging is possible. This alkaline cell. Okay, nickel iron cell or Edison cell. So this is the circuit diagram and the applications, and positive plate is called nickel hydroxide NiOH3. So it's called nickel hydroxide positive plate. Okay, this is called positive plate nickel hydroxide, and the negative plate is called spongy iron Fe ferrous. Spongy iron is called negative plate. And electrolyte is called potassium hydroxide. KOH is called potassium hydroxide electrolyte. Okay. Applications: mine locomotives and mine safety lamps. Mine safety lamps. Okay. So in mine, so one headlamp is there, no? So that is that batteries. This type of batteries are used. Mine locomotives and mine safety lamps. Okay. Spaceships. Also, this type of batteries are used in the railways for lighting and air conditioning purpose. Also, this type of batteries to supply power to tractors, submarines, aeroplanes, etc. These are the different type of applications of nickel iron cell or Edison cell. And the characteristics of the nickel iron cells are like this. This is called discharging characteristics, and that is called charging characteristics. The characteristics will show the variations in the terminal voltage of cell against the charging or discharging values. Okay. And when fully charged, its voltage is about 1.5, and during discharging, it reduces to 1.1 to 1 volts. Okay. During charging, the average charging voltage is 1.7 to 1.75 like this. Okay, this is about electrical characteristics of nickel iron cell, and then next nickel cadmium cell. So this nickel cadmium cell, the positive plate is called nickel hydroxide, and the negative plate is called cadmium CD. Okay. So the electrolyte used again 25% of solution of potassium hydroxide and distilled water. 21% of solution of potassium hydroxide and distilled water. This the specific gravity of the electrolyte is about 1.2. Okay. So electrolyte is nothing but your potassium hydroxide, same. Positive plate is called nickel hydroxide and a negative plate is called cadmium. Okay. Same as previous. Here positive plate is called nickel hydroxide, same, but negative plate is called sponge iron, but here cadmium. Okay, negative plate is changing, cadmium. Applications: military, aeroplanes, helicopters, and commercial airlines for starting engines and provide emergency supply. Okay, and electric shavers, and in the railways for lighting and air conditioning purposes, they also this type of cells are using. And the battery charging. So there are different types of battery charging methods are there: constant current method and constant voltage method and rectifier method. Okay, generally you know well this rectifier method, that is called charger. The charger is called rectifier method. By using electronic devices, converting AC to DC and charging is possible. Okay, so here also constant current method and constant voltage method. In constant current method, by changing the variable resistance, we have to maintain the current in constant by varying the resistance. Okay, for example, if it is connected one resistor, for example, this is called 2 ohms. Okay, this current is constant, for example. Okay, if your voltage increases, otherwise the current is changing because of battery. So we have to reduce the resistance by connecting one more resistor. The resistance is decreasing when you are if the resistors are connected in parallel, okay, the resistance goes on decreasing and current is increasing. To maintain the current is constant by varying these variable resistors, so we have to maintain the current is constant. So that's why that is called constant current method. Okay, when the supply is high voltage, but supply is high voltage, but battery to be charged of a low voltage. Supply is high voltages, but the battery is charged with a low voltage. In that case, what you do? So this type of method is useful. Okay, this method is used. Supply high voltage, but battery's capacity is very less. So in that case, by changing the variable resistance, by maintaining the current is constant, we have to charge the battery. The number of batteries are connected in series across the available DC supply. So this called available DC supply. The number of batteries are connected in series. Batteries in series. Okay, this constant current is maintained through the batteries with the help of variable resistors connected in series. Okay, by changing this resistors, we have to maintain the current is constant in this. So that is called constant current method. By changing the just one, nothing is there. By changing the resistance, by adding the resistance, we have to maintain the current is constant. So that can be observed by using ammeter. Okay, and battery charging by constant voltage methods. Okay, so in series, current is changing now. Okay, by changing the variable resistance, the current maintained constant. In series, current is changing. Current is constant. So here current is flowing to the battery. So by changing this, so we have to change the current levels. Okay, so here parallel voltage is constant. So in this method, constant voltage method, in this method, constant voltage is applied across the cells. Constant voltage applied across the cells. Okay, so for each and every cell, so we have to maintain the voltage constant. The charging current varies according to the state of the charge of the battery. Charging current changes according to the battery capacity. Okay, so this battery B1, B2, B3, they are having different type of capacity. So based on that variable resistance, this charging is can be done. The battery is first is connected is a high charging current will flow. Meanwhile, the terminal voltage of the batteries increases. The charging current and reduces automatically. Okay, so like this. At the end of the full charge, the voltage of the battery is equal to the voltage across the bus and no current flows. Okay, and means this voltage battery and this battery is this voltage and this voltage both are same. Then both voltages are equal and then no current flowing through this battery. Okay, the battery voltage and supply voltage are same. That means no current flowing to the battery. Okay, if this if there any difference between these two, okay, then only the current is passing to the battery. Okay, that is called constant voltage method. Okay, battery charging by using rectifier method. So by using rectifiers, you know, well, we already studied in the intermediate level. So this is called by using rectifier. It's AC to DC converter. Okay, by converting like that, it is connected to the battery. So just like as our mobile battery. So this is called a charger. Okay, this is called a bridge rectifier. So it's converting into AC to DC. Okay, when a battery is required to be charged from AC supply, its method is used. Okay, in household applications, we are getting from supply that is called AC. That AC is converted to DC by using this type of electronic devices. Instead of chargers, this type of device is there. Diodes are there. By using this diodes, we have to convert the AC to DC. The rectifier converts the AC to DC supply. Generally, bridge rectifiers are used for this purpose. Okay, the step down of transformer lowers AC supply voltage per requirement. So step down transformers are used because of we are getting that's 230 volts is an input is 230 volts that can be reduced by using step down transformer, and then the voltage is reducing and then can be charged. Because of the battery capacity is very small, that's why the voltage is stepped down by using small transformers are there in inside of the charger. Okay, by using rectifier method. And then battery backup, backup. A battery backup is a device, is an electronic device that supplies secondary power in the absence of main power. Okay, so that is the use of battery backup. When main power is switched off, at that case, this battery backup is used. Okay, so such as during a power outages, then power cut. At that case, so the battery backup is used. Battery backup will supply power when it detects an outage. Okay, battery backup device can also protect the electronic hardware from the power spikes. Okay, so sudden So shutdown of the electrical power supply, at that cases, this type of battery backups are used. This type of battery backup can protect your devices, protect electronic devices. Okay, battery backup devices are all size and power capacities available, but this will affect the size of capacities required. Okay, so this is about battery backups.